All right, everybody, welcome back to the Sporting Chance podcast. Be sure to check out sportingchancepod.com for all your flyest new Sporting Chance pod merch. If you're anything like me, you struggled for a while trying to find a source for performance canines. Well, look no further. Check out Clover Creek Canine on Facebook for your performance canine needs. For your East Coast and micro hawking needs, hit up mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. If you want to be cool like me this hunting season and fly a parent-reared goshawk, there's virtually no other source but our boy Seth Roy. Go to northmountaingoshawks.com to put your deposit down on next year's hunting partner. And while you're at it, go ahead and put an order in with the King of Tight, Richard Moats, maker of the tightest braided equipment at midnightfalconry.com. Britney, welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you here.
Excited. Thank you.
So Britney is, amongst other things, a falconer based out of New Jersey.
Yes, good old New Jersey.
What's that?
I said good old New Jersey.
Good old New Jersey. It's my second home.
Yeah.
So what position do you have in the Jersey Club?
I am the secretary of the New Jersey Falconry Club. I've been doing it for, I think, 3 years now. So I'm the one that nags everyone with emails.
I was the president of the club down here in North Carolina. So I appreciate how much effort it is to run a club.
It's a lot of work. I say it's like literally a part-time job, just nagging everyone. No one really responds to me. Some people do, but it is work.
And you ask yourself why you do it in the first place?
I do. But you know what? I like it. I'm trying to change the club dynamics as a whole, get people more involved with the sport, help people where I can. But like I said, it is a lot of work. For the meet, it's a lot of work.
How are you trying to change the dynamic and get people involved?
So I was really lucky with my sponsor. So my sponsor was Bob Glass. Bob G. He just wrote a book. I feel like we could talk about this all day, but I really hate how the sponsorship is run. And this isn't unique to New Jersey, but I was just having a conversation with someone earlier today. I hate the whole paper sponsor thing. I try to facilitate people to not have a paper sponsor and set people up for success, because ultimately you are a reflection of your sponsor and you're going to be associated with that sponsor for a while until you establish yourself. So I'm really trying to change that, give people the opportunity to, be successful in the sport, but also be transparent. Try not to gatekeep, but I think it is important because I don't want to, facilitate bad falconers in the state. We get a lot of people, interested. They ask a million questions and then I don't hear from them again. Right. And I'll get a lot of like, can you sponsor me? Can you set me up with a sponsor? And, I'm really trying to just, pave the way for new people of like, this is how you get started and this is how you do it the right way.
My sponsor told me to tell them to buy $100 book and you'll never hear from them again.
Exactly.
It's a lot of work. Falconry and hunting hawks.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I didn't know anything when I got, involved, honestly. Like I worked with animals my whole life, but like I didn't know a lot about this. And I waited a very long time to get involved. And, like I said, I got lucky with my sponsor being very involved. And that's, what I needed just because that's my personality. But like I said, I'm not a fan of, paper sponsor, you live 3 hours away and I'm going to just, sign you off and never follow up with you again. I've never sponsored someone. I can't imagine myself sponsoring anyone. So unless I find a very unique person, but I'm not, like I said, it's not.
Why not? Casey's never done it either. I've sponsored. I just graduated somebody. She was a great falconer. Shout out to Jen Bates. And I'm sponsoring
did you like it?
2 other. Yeah, it was really rewarding because she was really good.
Right.
Aaron will sponsor anybody with a pulse.
No. So it's tough because you got to like strike a balance between gatekeeping,
and
being inclusive,
And
I want to see people's dreams come true. You know, if they want to do falconry, I want to help.
Right.
And there's a real lack of people out there willing to do it. I require them to hunt. I require them to take good care of the bird. And if you're willing to do that and you're willing to put forth the effort, I'll give you the time of day.
And I respect that. I'd have to find someone that would mesh. I'm a very type A personality, and like Bob is too. So we meshed very well together.
You guys didn't fight?
And no. I mean, we're very like, my husband will come out in the fields with us, and like it's like me and Bob are like, we're going to battle. Like there's no, BSing. This is our job at hand. We're like, Tom, he likes coming out, but like it's more of a leisurely activity for him. And I'm like, we're sun up to sundown. So I mean, it's just very different. So we meshed really well together. So I think I'd have to find someone that I really meshed well with, and that like our personalities would match well. Because like same thing, I would require hunting. I mean, like the veterinary care is really important to me. The husbandry is important to me. Obviously, flying your bird is really important, but it's hard. I mean, and I've had people reach out and I've thought of it and I have invited them to go hunting with me, and then I don't hear from them again. So, I mean, it is what it is.
The two guys that I'm sponsoring, one of them, Casey, will not object to either of these guys, actually, is Mike. Mike came up to Jersey last year. No, 2 years. He's been up there 2 years.
You don't treat Mike well, I'll steal him from you as my apprentice. Love Mike. He's such a good guy.
He came up for 2 years. He comes to our state meets all the time. He went with me to a NAFA meet out in Kansas one year. He's stuck with it. He's so gung-ho. He's going to be such a good falconer. And the other one is Lee, who Casey met as well. And Lee went all out every single weekend. He was out with a different falconer, and he was having a really hard time finding somebody who would take him on.
Right.
So, like I said, I want to help people make their dreams come true. If I can do that, I'm all for it.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I like Lee a lot too. He has a nose ring, and I usually don't trust men with nose rings. But after hanging out with him, and then we had at the meet, I'm not going to say what the situation was, but he had me rolling on the floor laughing, and I'm like, all right, this guy's cool. I like this guy. But yeah,
nose rings are allowed now.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's just like you said, Brittany. It's like it's a responsibility on your part, and like that apprentice. Not only does the apprentice represent their sponsor, but like now, like my image could be tainted from this person who's not taking it seriously, won't listen. And the issue is that you don't really have any recourse if they don't listen. They could just jump from you to somebody else.
Exactly.
Which is sometimes justified, and we see it, and I'm sure you hear about it in the club. But then other times it's not justified. It's just somebody who's just blatantly doesn't want to listen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's literally no recourse, and I don't want any more oversight from the government. And I don't know if you listen to the show, but we talk about like
I do
at least like what, Aaron, like a couple times a month it comes up with like the whole have a board of falconers in the club that can vote on people that are eligible to sponsor, and then everybody has to vote that this apprentice will go to this sponsor. Does we all agree on it? Okay, great, done. But then if there's
that's like capitalism. It's great in principle, but it doesn't work.
Yeah. It could just be Aaron's just trying to get me riled
all
up.
Of us.
you agreed with that. That's awesome.
I mean, listen, I'm going back and forth with my accountant. I'm going back and forth with the IRS right now. So yeah, the whole idea of capitalism and just, there's no perfect system. It's a pain in the neck.
It's definitely hard. And like I said, there has to be a balance, but I agree. Like it's hard to push more regulations without opening up the entire sport and like individuals. But then some people just breed bad falconers, and it's a reflection on all of us then. So it's definitely a tricky thing to navigate.
It's almost like it should be loosened up so you could just totally separate pet keepers from falconers.
Yeah.
To just be like, no, they just have pet hawks.
Yeah,
they don't actually hunt.
That just lowers the value of what you're doing. And at least now we can say we're allowed to trap a bird from the wild. As we discussed on, I think, 2 episodes ago, the birds are considered dead anyway, based off of this statistic. So we have no effect, but at least we're flying them and teaching them skills and hunting with them. And if we lower the standards where somebody could just keep it in a cage for the rest of its life and take selfies, I don't think that the general public would really appreciate that. At least we could say that we're giving them enrichment and all this stuff. And I don't know.
Right. Setting them up for success. Yeah, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm trying. Like I said, I try to set people up. It's up to them in the long run. Like I said, we all had to do this. We all went through this, and it's what you make out of it too. I mean, I'm out every single chance I can get. I mean, I knew I would love it, but I didn't realize I would love it as much as I do. And I love that. And I hope I never lose that. But I mean, I have a flexible work schedule. Any chance I get, I'm out in the field, which, like I said, I hope I never lose that. I mean, it's definitely a lifestyle, as cliche as that sounds, but I mean, it literally drives my entire life.
I'm sure the members of the Jersey Club are all very grateful and show their gratitude, and you feel very rewarded, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know I definitely did as president down here.
When they pay their dues, it makes my job even easier.
As Casey says, Falconers are a really, what is it, Casey? A really wonderful.
We're a very loving, open-minded, like,
of course,
I'm grateful and appreciative to that too.
That's all sarcasm. But Brittany, I had a question. I heard a rumor, and I have to re-up my membership because I saw your email, and I was one of the people that just ignored you.
Sorry.
So I have to re-up that. But is it true that the president of the Jersey Club is an apprentice?
No, so she is not. Okay. So she is a general. She is, I think, 2 years behind me. So I didn't know her really well, but she is doing communication skills, A+, really good. She's been really, really helpful. She's definitely newer, but I think it's a second year general, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but she's doing really good for the club.
Okay, good. Yeah, I heard somebody said it was an apprentice, and then I was like, what? But I mean, listen, it's not really like, it's an important job, but it's not like you have to be like, this amazing falconer, like know everything to do it. You just have to know how to have people skills, communicate, email, go back and forth. And that's the most important thing. And if she could be manipulated, then we can get some good guests at the at the meet.
That's my plan.
You guys have any ideas?
That's my plan. No, I mean, we're totally open for suggestions. So I'm the secretary does all the work. So I'm the email nagger. I'm the one that nags all the other officers pretty much like every week through our group message. So I just messaged them recently. I was like, we got to figure out a guest speaker because it's July. And I mean, we have some time, but we definitely have to start it. So I'm totally open to suggestions. It's usually me hounding these people, like begging them to come to New Jersey.
All right. So let's go back, Brittany. You had mentioned friend of the show, Bob Glass. Super wonderful dude. Actually, Bob came to speak at my meet a few years ago. My last year as president, I had Bob down. He sold a big stack of books while he was here. He was slinging books like crazy. He was trying to drink places that he's not supposed to drink. And then I sold him a puppy. And had this really heartwarming moment with his wife when he revealed it to her. And she was crying. She gives me a hug. She doesn't know me. It was wonderful. Anyway, Bob was your sponsor. Tell us how you got into falconry.
So I wanted to do this for a very long time. I did rehab. So I worked in zoos. I did rehab. I've worked with animals my whole life. So it was something I wanted to do. I didn't know how to get started. I dragged Tom all around the East Coast. So we lived in Massachusetts, New York, all over the place for my job. So 15 years ago, I really wanted to do it, but I was very focused on my career. So I knew that I did not have the time. I'm like commuting into Boston. This was just not going to work. So when I got to New Jersey, I work in academia. So my schedule is very flexible. I joined the New Jersey Falconry Club. And actually, Bob, I think I posted on Facebook, like introducing myself. Bob ended off messaging me and invited me out to go hunting because he lived very close to me. So I went hunting with him for a full season. He showed me everything. And then I was like terrified to ask him to sponsor me because he doesn't sponsor people, right? He's had 2 other apprentices. So I painted him a picture of a hawk and I got him a case of Guinness. I dropped it off at his house because I was too scared to ask him. with a letter that I wrote him, basically being like all my heartfelt, goals of like how I'm going to be a falconer. Would he sponsor me? Because I want him to sponsor me. And ultimately he said yes. So that was our little story. But I did go out hunting with him. Like I said, we meshed really, really well. We still go out hunting together. We talk on the phone every week. But it was definitely a really good match, I think, for both of us. Maybe Bob has other opinions, but for me, it was really, and he lived 10 minutes from me. So, I mean, I definitely wanted the oversight. I still call him for, every little thing that I just, need advice, don't need advice. So it definitely was a really good apprenticeship for me.
Yeah, it's awesome when your sponsor that's what it should be. Is that your sponsor is your sponsor forever, basically.
Yep. Yeah. That's what Bob told me. I'm going to be your forever sponsor.
Yeah. And it's true, because it's like, not to go back to what we talked about in the beginning of the show, but it's like, there's people that are sponsoring other people that they don't even know what they're doing.
Right.
And you know what I mean? It's like they're bouncing ideas off of each other. And it's like, you can go to Bob and ask him almost any question about something, and he's been there, done it. Same for me with Phil and Paul. Like, it's like, oh, we saw that. This is what we did. If they don't know the answer, they know who to call to get the answer.
Exactly.
And that's just a really good thing. But I do have a question. What did he do in terms of the fact that you live so close to him about laying the ground rules about fields? Because that's important.
Yeah. So, and I actually, like, this comes up a lot because now, like, Ian lives near me. We're all in like a little radius. So Bob, he put down the ground laws that like, this is field etiquette. So I never hunted before. I didn't even know this was a thing. I thought I was going to be like, all these places were going to be open for me to fly this bird. Like, this was going to be great. So he told me basically, like, this is how it is. If I take you to a field, we can go there together, but you cannot go to this field by yourself. I 100% respect that. He respects my fields. Again, we are in an overlapping area with a few falconers now. I did learn to realize that rabbit fields aren't everywhere. But he showed me this is what a rabbit fields look like. This is squirrels. So he definitely laid the ground laws for that. And I don't go to his fields.
You're a good apprentice.
I try.
Yeah. I mean, I've snuck into Paul and Phil's fields. I'm not going to lie. And then the worst part is they were falconers for like 15 years before they sponsored me. So like, I'd find a spot and I live 15 minutes from them, and I'd be like, oh, I got a really good spot. There's a lot of rabbits. Let's go check it out. And we pull in the parking lot, and they're like, oh yeah, this is our field. We haven't hit it in a while, but this is our field.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it's like so close to my house. And they're like, all right, this is yours. You can go to this one. You can ride your bike here. You can go to this one. You know what I mean? And they had like a little grace, but like, to this day, like, I have gone to some of their fields. Like, I'm like, yo, you guys are busy with your kids. Like, dude, I'm going to that field. And they get like, it's like they get pissed,
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, it's the way it should be.
It is. And it's definitely, like I said, it ingrained in me field etiquette. It really, really has. And I really am happy because I don't know, not that I wouldn't respect it, but like it definitely showed me what is right, what is wrong. And then same thing, like I have called Bob before and said like, hey, can I hit up this field? I'm close by. And he said yes. I would never ask him to go to his like really good fields, but this is just like like maybe 2 rabbits and then we're done. So
you do I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Where
exactly.
You hook him up, you get some access to spots, and you let him go there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good trade-off.
My sponsor, Bob Pendergrass. Back to the whole sponsors being a wealth of knowledge. He's the man. He's been doing this longer than I've been alive, and me and him have that relationship. He lives about 20 minutes from me. The first couple of years, it was mostly him being generous with spots. But after that, anytime I get a spot, it's mi casa, su casa. He's welcome to go to it anytime. Usually it doesn't take me up on it. But that's the relationship I have with him, and I'm lucky to have that.
Yeah, definitely important.
Yeah, that's another pro tip for, pre-apprentices. If you find spots with rabbits or squirrels and you say, hey, listen, I know you're busy, but I got a spot, tons of rabbits, we have full access. We're not going to get in trouble. That's a good way to like get your foot in the door and be like, I like this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Shows respect.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Did you guys get your sponsors a gift when your apprenticeship was done?
I did. I got Bob a glove. Didn't get him a Guinness. I don't think I got him. I think I took him out for drinks. Yeah, we went out for drinks, then I got him a glove. That's what we did.
Casey's never told me, but I know he didn't get them jack shit.
No, he didn't. I am the gift. That's what I got him. I am the gift. I was probably like 15 when I, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know.
You draw them like stick figures or something.
Yeah. I think I wrote him a letter. I think my mom said we should write him a card or a gift certificate. I think we did something. But I know when because James was a grown Maynard when he's a grown man, and the only two sponsors Phil ever had was me and James Maynard. And I know when James became a general, he rented out this like insanely expensive, beautiful French restaurant, had a custom menu put together.
Damn.
It was like insane. We had the whole place to ourselves. The whole staff was like there.
Wow. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I still remember because that was the first time I ever drank, allegedly. The first time I ever drank any alcohol was like this fancy, like French, like, tradition thing, and they're like, and James was like, you have to do it. You have to do it. And it was it like burnt my throat, but it was but I was a kid. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Right,
when you're a child, you know, like I don't, you know.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, my first year of flying, I'm sure you guys know, but like my first year of being an apprentice was like an absolute horror show with my birds. So it was definitely very unique. And like I said, having to navigate that. And that was like, welcome to falconry. And it was just a disaster. So, but it all worked out, but it was definitely, you know, a lot.
I think it's right on track with like the chronological order of what we're talking about. Can you talk about that? You're talking about that Tiercel, right?
Yeah. So his name is Klaus. So I trapped him October 2nd, I think. And I flew him pretty much every day. Great. Everything was great. We were catching rabbits. When I trapped him, he had a scab on his foot, and I was suspicious at first that it was a pox lesion, but it looked very much also like a squirrel bite. Didn't change, like it pretty much just hung out, like didn't get worse. So like, you know, I kept an eye on it. It was Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. I was flying him, and I saw him in the field. He like smacked a sapling, like kind of like hit his face while he was flying. But like, I didn't think anything of it. He caught a rabbit. And when he was on the ground, I noticed like the side of his eye. So it's like the conjunctiva. It's like the little pink part. It was like bulging out a little bit. But again, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he, you know, hit his face. Everything was fine. By that night, I ended off in the emergency room with the bird because it swelled up tremendously. This is during COVID now. So it is a nightmare because first of all, no one understands around me at midnight, like how to deal with this raptor. It's also COVID. So they had like the drop off your animal. This is the drop off your animal time during the vet. But I'm arguing with them that like, I cannot do that because this is a hawk and like, you guys don't even know how to handle the bird. And like, I work in the veterinary field. So all that worked for me. I was able to end off bringing the bird in. I went in there. They treated him at first for like an eye injury. So I had to give him eye drops. By like, and I can share pictures, by like 5 days later, his whole eyeball was like swollen, and that conjunctiva was like, 5 times the size that it should be, and was bulging out. Then he started getting pox lesions all over his feet. And I guess it was an eye injury. So he rubbed his foot onto his eye, spread the pox on his eyebrow, in his eye, and then all over his mouth. So I ended up having to suture his eye closed for about a month because this was the only way it was going to heal. It did not heal. I had to do pathology because now there was like a lesion in his eye, like a big lump. It ended off coming back with cancer cells. So now I'm not hunting at this point. Like, we're done. I'm not hunting. I'm like beside myself on what to do with this bird. He's inside. I'm having to like bowl feed him because he can't use his feet. I made an appointment to euthanize him at first. Once I found out like this is cancer, like no one knew what to do. Like no vets. I talked to pathologists across the state, across the country. I sent them all his test results. I talked to the raptor centers, anyone like my colleagues. Minnesota Raptor Center was the only one that was able to help me, but they diagnosed him with squamous cell cancer that spread to his eye. And there's some literature that shows, especially with chickens, that poxvirus can cause this. He went under anesthesia twice and stopped breathing. So they had to like re-wake him up. He got Asper twice. So that was fun. So the bird was on meds for about 3 months. I had to give him eye drops 4 times a day. And 8 months later, the pox lesions went away. I had to disinfect every surface. That was my apprenticeship. That was my first year.
Welcome to falconry.
It was a nightmare, but I released him and we went on for a second season and he did fantastic. Caught so many rabbits, released him, continued to see him, saw him 2 years later, which was really cool. But I mean, it was definitely eye-opening and a lot of decisions to make, a lot of money to spend on like a wild bird that's not a pet. So there was like emotion on that too, but it was a lot to take in.
My first red tail came down with something and I spent a bunch of money at the vet for him to die.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And vets are just not aware of it, especially around here. Like we don't have a lot of raptor vets.
We've got, it's almost like if a bird starts to get sick, it's almost like it's over with, you know?
Yeah.
It's like my goshawk, when she had a collision that I didn't see. I've talked about it at length, but I almost didn't even take her to the vet because I thought like either she's going to get better or she's not.
Right,
and the
right.
vet's not going to be able to do anything. Turns out she wasn't, I took her to the vet, spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and he even cut me a deal on the care, and she still died.
Yeah.
So my intuition was right about it, that either she was going to get better or she wasn't. And the vet, a lot of times the vet just stresses them out even more.
Yeah, and like I was going there, again, this is like the height of COVID, but I mean, I had to advocate for the bird because the vets here misdiagnosed him initially. And like I said, Minnesota Raptor Center really, really helped. Like I was on the phone with them. They actually used him as a case study because they were like, this is wild. We've never seen this before. I swear to God, this bird saw me from the sky and was like, this person's going to put all the time and effort into dealing with me. So, because I would.
Yeah, it's insane. And, a lot of respect to you for doing that because I would not have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think a lot of people wouldn't have done that. And
I agree.
And it's a conversation to have because it's like it's a good conversation to have because if we have the right to take the bird from the wild and it's now in our possession and under our care, if something goes wrong, to a degree, it's our responsibility to make sure that the bird is okay.
Right.
Right. And you spend a ton of money, pain in the neck, but the bird is healthy and you released it and you seen him. Yeah. So it's like without you, without falconry, he was dead.
Right.
And then
exactly.
then there's a conversation if he's spreading bad genes, whatever. But
exactly. Exactly. I mean?
But still,
there's a lot to it.
Yeah. But still, it's like, it's an interesting conversation to have. I've had bird get sick. I trapped 2 or 3 red tails off of one, cemetery, and all the Jersey people will know exactly what I'm talking about, and handed them to different people that needed birds. And 5 days later, we're all cutting our weight on our birds, and all 3 birds started seizing.
Yes, that's so interesting. They were all from the same area.
They're all from the same area. Yeah. And the only thing that we all came up with, and I'm literally on the phone with this guy, with Phil. I think Phil came over. My bird's like on the ground with the hood on, with its feet in front of its face, and it's like twitching. And then I'm like, Phil, what's going on? He's like, I just got off the phone with Joe. His bird's seizing too. And then like this guy's bird is seizing. And what we all think it was is like pesticides stored, like something stored in the fat. And then when it disperses into the bloodstream as they're losing weight, that's all we could come up with.
Right.
I actually came up with that idea, even though it's just, whatever. And I was 14 years old.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm smart, bro. I can't read, but I'm smart. And mine ended up living. All the other birds died. But
that's interesting.
Like my parents didn't have money to pay for a vet, but we just gave it like what we could. I think I did. First time I ever had to do it. Phil was like telling me what to do over the phone, and my mom's a nurse, so she had saline and needles and stuff. So we just started giving it fluids, subcutaneous, and like just little bubbles under it, there on the keel. And it lived, and it was just like a crazy experience. And I was also an apprentice at the time, but it wasn't to the level yours was. Cause I just remember seeing your updates, and it was like just one thing after another.
It was a nightmare.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I respect it, but I definitely would have just taken that thing out back.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Because like humane euthanasia, I think, is a really important thing in veterinary medicine. And like, I deal with it all the time. And I think it's very important to have that option for these animals. And again, I had an appointment made for him, right? Because I think there's a point in which, like, is an animal suffering and would that be the better route? And sometimes, yes, that is the better route. But I mean, he was comfortable. I mean, like I said, he had Asper and then got it again. But I mean, I'm happy looking back on it that I did what I did. I can't say I would do that for every single bird because I don't know. I'd have to find a new place to live at this point. But I tried, a lot of it was me. The most frustrating part was having to advocate for the bird myself because it was just dead roadblock ends of maybe it's this, no, it's not this. And that it's a lack of just understanding raptors in veterinary medicine. So like I said, having the resources and like having colleagues that I can call was really, really helpful. But again, it was a lot of work. I didn't hunt from half my season as a first year apprentice was just completely, it turned into a rehab case basically. So
on a similar note, Brittany, you may recall I posted on Strictly Red Tails, which that's just a cesspool most of the time. It's the most insane group. Anyway, Hardcore Hawkers is probably worse. But so there's a spot near me where all the red tails have these like frayed feathers. Everyone I trap has these really like frayed feathers, like they're missing, and you may know the term for it. There's the component of the feather that like holds them together, like that holds the actual.
It's the little hooks. They hook into each other.
Don't know it off the top of my head, but we'll get back.
All right. So years ago, I had a failed apprentice that I did cut loose because he wasn't hunting. He wasn't doing his part of the deal. And the bird we trapped him was from this spot, and it had really bad feathers. They were all just tattered, and it just looked dirty. I told him to mist it down and to provide it a bath, and it would preen it out, and it would be fine. And they never did. And I just assumed this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's his fault. Years later, trapped another bird that from the same spot that had the same condition. And then the next year trapped another one that had the same condition. The parents there do not, but
that's what I was going to ask. That's interesting.
Yeah, they don't. So year after year, the young have this condition. Friend of mine has one of these birds that he hunted last year. I think he was telling me, Casey, this bird hunted at 48 ounces.
It's a nice bird.
Big bird. Hunted at 48 ounces, and it's molting into the same crappy feathers.
Really? That is very interesting. Very interesting.
So it's genetic.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because I would assume like if there was like heavy mite infestation or something on the nest, that would explain it. But if the bird is molting feathers like that, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So there's young there this year. They will more than likely get trapped because they're at a great rabbit spot.
Right.
And I want them out of there as soon as possible. So as soon as trapping season starts, they're going to be, other falconers are going to be getting their hands on those birds. And I'm curious to see if the young this year have the same issue.
Yeah. So you'll have to send me pictures. I'm very curious.
Somebody, and you interacted with the post. It's one of those funny things that I shouldn't remember, but I just remember. I posted it and I said, does anybody have experience with this? Any like fixes? Because I've tried the water.
What did I say?
Somebody replied and they were like, I would have cut that bird loose. And I replied, I was like, thanks, but that's not what I asked. Or I don't remember asking something like that. You like it? You like the post? Like, that's not what I want to say. So anyway, this bird ended up being awesome for the guy that got her.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I'll keep you.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I've heard of it before though. People have said they've heard of birds with genetic abnormalities that cause their feathers to be.
Yeah, sometimes they'll have like keratin overgrowth. I mean, they all can have so many different things, but it's definitely interesting that each clutch, time after time, is having the same thing.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts were, somewhere around there, maybe there's like a chicken coop that the young would go to. and, just obsess over the chickens and destroy their feathers on the wire of the chicken coop. And then the field that all the rabbits are in is full of this plant called Lespedeza. And it's just this really thick, kind of like a waxy, invasive weed. And I thought maybe the young are like trying to punch through that to get the rabbits and they're messing it up. But the first one ever kept through the molt is molting out.
Yeah, it's definitely
feathers.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Anyway, more to come on that. So you finished your apprenticeship in spite of the odds.
Yep. Flew that bird a second year, released him. Then I trapped a female red tail. She was fantastic. Like I said, this bird like barely missed. I got her in September. I know there's like the debate on like early versus late. I did have some aggression issues with her. So she was a little face grabby.
Was she coming out of trees at your face?
Coming out of trees at my face. Yes. So she was really good at home. I can like touch this bird anywhere. Got her in September. I manned her just like my other bird, but she was very, very vocal. I stopped pretty much all food association with her. Not saying that's right or wrong, but that was at that point, that's what I was doing. So all food was going away from me, basically. I didn't really call her to the glove in the field. She was excellent with it. My problem I had with her, and I never stole food from this bird. I traded her off like my other bird. She would be fine on a kill. She would go for the back of my head or like my face if like I stopped in the field and wasn't doing my job. Like if I took 1 second to like tie a shoe, like we were not okay with that. My biggest problem I had with her though is when I was walking back to the car, so I'd have her hooked up, she would be lunging and peeping at me and she would be going for my face. And I have videos of this and I sent it to people, asking for advice. Of course, I get, a lot of unsolicited advice. And I tried feeding her up on kills. I did cut her loose after that season because I was like, I'm not wearing safety goggles around
hilarious
you.
There. I thought I would have just given her the good old loop-de-loop every time she did that.
It was very, I really liked her though. She was such a good game hawk. So I was like, we caught so much together and I loved her, but I just didn't want to lose my eyeball the next season. So I did cut her loose, but we had a great successful season, really good squirrel hawk. And then I trapped a male red tail that I had him for 2 seasons. I just released him this past spring. Another great bird.
Tulin.
Didn't really like people. Tulin. All my nerdy names.
Famous. Yeah, he's famous.
And then I got the Oplamato. Within all this mix, Robbie gave me his Oplamato, and then I have flown him for 2 seasons. So that's been a whole other learning curve.
Yeah, we want to go more in depth into the Oplamato.
Okay.
But before we, I'd like to dwell on red tails for a little bit, if that's cool with everybody.
Yeah.
So you flew one female. Do you remember what she weighed?
She was, I do. So I'm in grams. So she was like 1090. And then I got her up, I don't know, I increased her weight. I think the highest I flew her was like, I don't know, the low 1100s, but she was she was very stocky, very, very short. She wasn't tall, like very bulldoggy-esque body. But like I said, she was a really good squirrel hawk, caught a mink.
A mink?
Oh, that's
caught
cool.
a mink. That was a fun build.
Tell us about that.
So thank God I was with Bob because I saw this bird. So I fly with GPS. I see her like take off and then not come back. So I knew she caught something. And I was walking and my GPS said, I don't know, she was like 500 feet away. So I was like, I'm walking in that direction. I heard a weird noise and then I saw a bunch of ducks like leave because there was like a little retention pond. So at first I thought she caught a duck, but I was like, no, there's no way. Then I walk over and I see her on like the edge of like this little pond. Now I think it's a kitten. So I'm like, oh God, what is happening? Then Bob was like, I think it's a mink. So luckily he was with me because it was not friendly, obviously. It was very hard to deal with the situation. We all left really, really smelly because the mink, sprayed and musked and everything else. It was a cool catch. She did not get bit from it, which was very nice. But it was a hard dispatch. It was just a lot of like situation. Because it's like a snake. This thing is like curled up around us. It's trying to bite us. Like the bird had a good hold of it, but it was a lot to take in.
How did you dispatch it?
So, you know what, looking back, I feel like there was water there, and the best situation would have been to just like drown it. But like, I think it was just a lot happening. So we just kind of like, I think I had like poultry shears or like a little like scissor. So we ended up just like using that. But like, I didn't know if the bird was bit. I mean, like, but it was hard. It was way harder than like a squirrel. This thing was like a warrior squirrel on steroids.
That's pretty neat. Did you, what time of year was it? And did you keep
it? Was the end of the season.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So it was
nice
the end
pelt.
of the season. I did keep the pelt. If Tyler listens to this, so I gave him the pelt so he had it for about a year and a half. And every time he like, preserved it and everything for me. Every time we would see each other, I'd be like, bring the mink. And every time he would forget it. And then there was this one time he was like, all right, I'm going to bring the mink. It's by my back door because we're going to go hunting. He like comes to my house. Like he was very upset because one of his dogs ate it, but he did purchase me a mink pelt. So now I have a mink pelt that my bird didn't actually catch, but it makes for a good story.
You keep the
Tyler.
Do you keep the skull, Brittany?
I didn't. No, I don't. I don't know. Maybe Tyler has it still. I have to ask him.
You
I
seem
think
He
like
has the whole thing.
I think Tyler has everything.
He might have it.
He probably has your original mink fur.
I think he's got
Maybe.
He's got the
Hasn't
hide and
mounted.
the skull in his house. I guarantee. Just kidding, Tyler. So we're gonna get Tyler on the show too. He's an interesting guy. But no, I mean, Mink Man is very upset right now because he listens. And he's
Sorry.
willing-
Punch in the
Sorry.
air.
I was very upset.
Leave it alone.
It was so pretty, and that's what I kept saying. It was a beautiful mink, but like I don't know. It was a lot of adrenaline happening at that moment.
Oh,
They're
man.
a renewable resource. There's nothing wrong with catching them. I know that if the bird grabs them wrong, it can go sideways pretty quick with a mink.
Luckily she had a really good hold of it. So yeah, she was a great bird. I was going to keep her for another season, but I do value my eyesight. I never really figured out, worked through the behavior with her. She got a little better. But like I said, she acted very imprinty towards me, and she was a passage bird, right? But like I said, I really, really tried to focus on like deterring it, and like I got this bird out every day, and she caught game, so it wasn't like a lack of that. But I don't know. Like I said, I value my eyesight. She went on her merry little way. And then I trapped 2 in.
That's aggressive red tail's dangerous bird.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more afraid of an aggressive red tail than a goshawk. What time of year did you trap that bird?
So I got her the second week of September. She was stuck in someone's soccer net. So with a squirrel. So I ended up taking her, and I knew it was early, and I was like, no, I want a female red tail, and it's September and I don't have a bird. So I got to get this bird now so I can go out hunting. And, like I said, it was a great learning experience. But it was definitely a little nerve wracking because I hunt by myself 99% of the time. So it was a little sketchy sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I had one early trap too. It was like opening, Jersey, opens like September 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went out like September 4th and got my red tail, and it started doing the screaming thing at me.
Yeah.
It hit my friend. Super aggressive.
It's intimidating.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean, for me nowadays, I just have 2 methods.
What are those methods, kids?
No, I have 3 methods. I have the third method is the right method. But the first method is and I hate to say it this way, but it's the only way to describe it. It's the 1930s, honey, I burnt the chicken. You roll up a newspaper, and when the bird's coming through the air, you just pop, smack them.
Yeah, it's definitely intimidating, especially like being in a field with a bird that's like going for your face, like talons out and screaming over nothing. Like I'm trying to help, like we're moving rabbits. Like again, it was definitely not fun all the time.
Listen, the whole thing about like physical discipline to a bird is very taboo in falconry.
Yeah.
But I've pinned birds on the ground before for doing stuff like that.
And did you see a positive effect after doing that?
Oh,
like
yeah, they never did it again. Yeah. I had the white bird from this past season.
Yeah.
I was doing some tidbit stuff in the yard, some layman stuff, like some restrained pursuits, and I bent down to pick her back up to put her on the glove, and she turned and looked up at my face and went right at my face. And I deal with these birds. So, and I've had plenty of secondhand birds that are like that. And I just intercepted her midair, and just pinned her straight on the ground and held her there while she's freaking out. And then just held her there. I didn't go crazy. I wasn't like, I just like held her there, and I just like held her for like a good 5 to 8 seconds while she's freaking out. And then I just gently picked her up, and she's looking at me like sideways, and I just walked her into her mew, took the leash off, put her on her perch, and she never did it again.
Interesting. There you go.
And it was like I lost my temper, but I didn't lose my temper. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go crazy, but I just lost my temper enough to like just pin her on the ground. And I'm like, dude, if you're going to go for my face, like, you're ruined as far as I'm concerned. So I don't care if I ruin you more. And she's like, she's like the best bird ever. She's a big puppy dog. And that was like early in the season. So it's not like the right thing to do, like on paper. But then I confessed to somebody else about what I did. And they're like, in the wild, the parents would do that to them. Right. They're like, you think the parents are just going to let they're going to put up with that? They're going to freaking grab them and fight them and beat the crap out of them. And they're going to, they're going to learn that doesn't get you anywhere. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that like I did it, and it was a lack of like control on my part. Yeah. I'm known for having a lot of self-control, like with my temper in the field and hunting. Like everybody who's hawking, they know that I'm very calm and patient, but I lost my temper, and she never did it again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It's why red tails don't hunt raccoons and groundhogs. I'm sure when they're juveniles, when they're young passage birds, they try them and they learn from that mistake and never do it again.
Geese, same thing. You think a juvenile red tail is not trying to grab a goose? A big female is not going to try to grab a goose at some point? Like, of course they are. They'll grab your goose in your yard or your ducks or your chickens. They try to grab a goose. They get the living piss beaten out of them. And they go, okay, that didn't work.
I think they get more bold when they become falconry birds, though.
Yeah, they're like, this guy or girl is gonna stab. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this mink, and this girl is gonna come up with game shears and stab this thing to death.
She's got me.
She got my back.
Yeah, I flew her. Then, like I said, I had a male at Tearsel this last season. I flew him for 2 years. Really liked him. Really good bird. Like no complaints other than he didn't really love a field of people. But I really, like I said, I hunt alone most of the time, but I really enjoyed him.
You flew Tulin for 2 years, you said.
Yep. Released all 3 of my birds successfully, healthy, good little hunters.
That's awesome. You were forever just killing shit with that bird.
He did. All my birds did really good. They really did really, really good. I mean, I guess I'm out every day. The first month with Tulin, it was like I flushed so many rabbits for this bird, and he went for every single one, but he would like hold on to the butt. The rabbits would get away every time. I'd get my hopes up, and I would just be so frustrated. And then once he like figured out how to hold on to them, we were like golden. Pretty much like we'd go out, get rabbits. So he was a really good bird.
I don't know how you hunt rabbits without a dog.
I don't have a dog. It's just me and my snow stick beating stick alone in the field.
When are you gonna like I hate to say come to your senses, but when are you gonna become part of the crew? You live in Jersey. You're flying in Jersey. Your sponsor's Bob Glass. Like,
and I don't have a dog.
When are you going to get a dog?
I know. We had 3 dogs. They were in hunting dogs. I just lost them all. They were greyhounds. I lost all 3 of them back to back. They were like 16, 18, and 19. So like emotionally, it was so hard. So, I mean, I don't know. I have hairless cats, and that is it. And I have a million birds. So I have the cats. So maybe I could take them out. But I don't know. It would make my life a lot easier in some of the fields that like they are so rabbity, but it's so thick. And like, I'm not a huge person. So I'm like pushing myself to get through these fields. And it's hard for the bird too, because like I'll move rabbits, and some fields I'll see the birds just go down, but they can't get through. And I can't sometimes flush the rabbit out. So it's just this chase of like back and forth, and it's frustrating. I try to do what I can do, solo most of the time. So
you want to see those numbers go up, get a dog.
I know.
At this
Eventually,
point,
I thought about it.
I wouldn't even do falconry without a dog.
Without one.
Yeah.
It would make my life easier.
If I had a bird that wouldn't fly with a dog, that bird would be gone.
Yeah, it would definitely make my life easier for sure. Because like I said, I get in there, I try, but I think I definitely would have an easier time as far as like moving stuff or going to fields that like I can't hunt because they are so thick. But I know there's rabbits in there, but I just can't literally walk through it. So I don't know. Eventually we'll see. Maybe I got to convince that one.
I know a guy. Okay. I know a
guy. I'll let you know.
All right, Casey, what were you going to say?
No, I just I have a bunch of questions because when you were talking about beating brush by yourself, I always made this stupid joke to you because of what you do, what you used to do or what you still do. I'm not 100% sure, but you did a lot of work with monkeys, and I always told you, grab one of them monkeys and cut it loose in there and teach it how to just shake vines for money or bananas or whatever. And
I should. My head count would be a lot. If I put them all to work, a little warrior of monkeys, I'd be golden.
You just need like one monkey motivated by bananas to just go ballistic in there. Give them a little pair of chaps. You know what I mean? You'll catch all the squirrels and rabbits you need.
Bring them to the meet next year.
Oh yeah, it'd be great. Just cut them loose in the banquet hall and just flipping stuff over, just grabbing stuff. My friend had a pet monkey, and the stories that he would tell me, like they had totally legal. His dad had a hardware store in New York City, and New York,
right.
I could get you a monkey. You want a monkey?
Right.
And he literally had a spider monkey in a cage in their house, totally not. No. It was not good. And they got it as a little baby, but then when it started maturing, I'm sure obviously. Then it started going like crazy. So they just locked it in the cage. And my friend is a funny guy. He's Dominican, and the way he talks is hysterical. So he would act out how the monkey would if you couldn't walk around the cage because his arm could get through the cage. So if you got near him, he'd grab you and try to pull you into the cage. And then one day him and his brother thought it'd be funny to let's just, I feel bad for him. And they opened the door up, and the monkey, cause they're so smart, it just went ballistic because it knew it was free. And he said it just ripped his cabinets open. And the way he's acting it out, Dominican people are hilarious. And he the cabinet flung open, and it just took all the cereal boxes and were just it was holding on to the side of the cabinet with its appendages, and it has both its arms, and it's just throwing everything out of the cabinets over its head. And then his older brother was crying, and they were young, and they were trying to get it under control. And then the thing got aggressive with them and turned around and hissed at them and lunged at him, and then they were about to call the cops. It's so funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't want one in my house for sure.
They're the worst pets.
For a long time, definitely would not want one in my house.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work, if you don't mind, just with the
Yes. So I work in the veterinary fields. Like I said, I worked in zoos for most of my life. Like I said, I did rehab, but I do work in academia, so I do behavioral research. So I work with macaques and I work with marmosets. So marmosets are little. They're like squirrel size. They act like squirrels. And then the macaques I work with, they're pretty big. They're the biggest one we have is 19 kilograms. So they're big, but I do attention and working memory with them. So I basically train them to do touchscreen video games. They're literally playing these very complex video games. Just to study the way that, their thought processes, the way attention works, the way memory works. And then what's really nice with where I work is we retire them all when they're done to a sanctuary. So we have that option for them. So once they're done, that's where they go. So it's really nice. I've worked with monkeys for over 15 years now. I honestly cannot picture doing anything else. They're so smart. They really are so smart. And it's just so fulfilling. I can never, for work wise, I cannot picture working with anything else now.
I have a soft spot for monkeys. I think they're just
they're so cool,
precious little things.
Yeah, and they all have such individual personalities. They all have names, and once they get to know you, they don't love me, right? It's very similar to working with birds. They don't love me. They trust me. But
you don't think monkeys can love a person?
I think that's based more on trust. I think they like certain people more so than others, but I think it's all built on trust. And it takes a while for them to trust people. And it's a lot of work. They love food, right? they do love bananas and they love grapes. Grapes are actually their favorite thing over bananas. But it's a lot of just working with them, and they're strong, right? Like they are large monkeys. It's respecting their space, reading their body language, reading their behaviors, and then just, working with them in that degree.
Do you find as a woman that you have difficulty with dealing with the monkeys? Because we had Trevor on. What's his last name? Chahangard? I can't.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. And he did a lot of work with baboons. And he said because he was a man, the female baboons would not step to him or at all. They just had this respect because of the way monkey hierarchy works.
Hierarchy. Yeah. So I see it more with they're actually a little better with women, especially where I work. Cause I think a lot of times we're smaller, our voices are higher. So I see a big difference when we have a man working with them where they're taller and they approach sometimes the cage differently or the room differently. It's definitely a different trigger for them. But I mean, once they get to know you, it changes the whole dynamics.
That's super fascinating.
It's
so
fun.
Cool.
They're so smart. Yeah. Like I said, what we can teach them and just see the way they you could see them thinking. That's what I always say. You could just see the thought processes. They do have a hierarchy.
It's like me.
Just like you.
Is it true? From Planet of the Apes, do you have to approach the cage like this?
No, they're really good. So once they get to know you, they'll turn around and want scratches and pets. Once they get to know you, some of them, like I said, they're all very different. Some of them I would not do that because they don't want that. So I respect their boundaries. But I mean, once they get to know you, they really are very trusting, but you have to put the time and the effort. And I think the biggest thing is being able to read their body language. Cause one of their biggest things is they'll yawn. And if you have never worked with them before, you would think they're tired, but it's a nervous behavior. So if you see them yawning repeatedly, they're nervous. So I would just, step back away from them. So it's a lot of just reading behavior.
That's so interesting.
It's very cool.
Now I have to ask, I know Aaron's got something he wants to ask as well. Have you had any sketchy situations where you had to push the panic button or something? They come in
No. I mean, so in research, so I work with old world monkeys. So they have the biggest thing we have to be careful with is they have the potential for, it's called herpes B virus. So it's deadly to humans. So I wear PPE when I work with them. If we get scratched or bit, which this shouldn't happen, but there are precautions if that were to happen. Our blood gets taken, it goes to the CDC. We have to do the same thing with the monkey. We have to get retested. So that's the biggest thing that we have to be careful with. But zoos are going to have the same thing. I mean, it's just the species that we're working with have this potential and it can lie latent in them. So that's the one annoying thing about working with old world, monkeys and macaques, basically.
Do you think the great apes are capable of love for a human?
I do. I think it's different when you move into apes. I really do. I've never personally worked with them. But from talking to other people and seeing videos, I think there is definitely higher emotions there. But it's hard because am I just projecting my emotions onto it? Right. There's so much I do. I have a monkey at work that, he's my favorite. When I walk in the room, he acts very differently with me than someone else. Is that love? Does he love me? I don't know. Right. I think he trusts me. He would act very different if you were to walk in the room. Even I think people that he's worked with for years, he'll work with me very different. But I think a lot of it is based on trust. But I mean, right. It could be love. I have no idea. It's just so many emotions that we project onto animals in general.
The story of Coco, the gorilla.
Yeah, they're doing the sign language and stuff. I know. See, Aaron knows.
I just can't handle it. It just makes me. So for those of you out there who may not know, there was a gorilla that they taught sign language and they gave her a kitten. And didn't the kitten die?
Yeah, and she was showing remorse. But monkeys do show remorse.
She was doing Coco sad with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Aaron is talking about this, he literally has a blanket across his lap like an old woman. I'm not even joking. Oh my God.
It's my low T.
It's the low
Now,
T.
see, me and Brittany are on the same page because we both have low T.
No, it's an interesting subject.
Even the movie Congo gets me sad. With the animatronic Amy, the ape, she's got a backpack that talks, and she'll be like, "Amy loves Peter." Like when she does sign language, just starts talking, and I'm like, "Oh,
that's the key to Aaron's heart is just these sad monkey movies."
And then I know this is getting out there, but forget about the end of King Kong. Oh my God!
See, any animal like that situation, I can't handle either. People like dying in movies, but animals, nah, I can't.
Yeah, believe it or not, I do feel the same way. Like I can't watch a movie with like a dog, and like I know the dog is gonna die at the end of the movie. Like I watched that. What's that movie? What's the one where it's like a old timey
Old Yeller,
dude? I was like traumatized from that movie. The dog's like snarling, and they had to shoot it. And I was like, "What the hell did my mom just make me watch to learn about
traumatized our generation
history or whatever it was that she put on the TV for us to learn about?"
It was like American plan in history.
It was, and I was like, "This is traumatizing, poor dog." But yeah, animals, man, they get to you. I mean, birds get to you too.
Yeah, it's definitely
our dogs get to us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
a lot of emotion going into it for sure. Like I have a hard time releasing my birds. I really do. I do it, but I definitely have a hard time with like the emotions of like walking away. But like I said, I did see my bird 2 years later. I don't know if you guys heard that whole story with like Tom and everything, but it was a very heartfelt moment.
Tell us.
So I released my bird, and like I take bird pictures at this area. So like I kept seeing the bird, and I didn't like mess with him. I wasn't going to like deliver him food or anything, but like I was able to recognize it was my bird. I saw him like a month after. This is my first bird.
How did you recognize him?
I don't know. I could tell. Like, I don't know. He had like his eyes were light. Like I knew the area. So I knew there were resident red tails around there. So like a week after I released him, I did like have my glove. The bird flew to me. Of course, I'm like hysterical crying again. Then I think I saw him like a month later, and it was the same thing. Like he let me get really close to him, but I didn't want to like feed the bird and like, I don't know, have him reliant on me. So it was like literally 2 years later, I was at Ian's house. I think I was like hoping his bird speak. And then I was like, that place is on my way home. So I was like, all right, let me just like stop by. Let me just do this. So I see a red tail in a tree, and I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like my bird. But like, it's 2 years later. Like they could look anyway. So I like get out of my car, and I'm like getting really close, and the bird's like looking at me, and I'm like, oh my God, I think this is Klaus. So I'm like, now I got to see, this is 2 years. I got to go get my lure and food. So I go home, and I'm like, Tom, I think I see Klaus. And I was like, do you want to go see? And he was kind of weird. He was like, yeah, but I have to put jeans on. And I was like, what? Like, there's a bird. It's going to fly away. Why do you need to put jeans on? And like, Tom, like, he's wearing sweatpants usually. Like, why are you putting jeans on? So like, I didn't think anything of it. So we like get there. Like the whole situation was a little suspicious, but like, whatever. So we get there. The bird's like gone. So I'm like, see, this is all because you had to put jeans on. The bird flew away. But then the bird came up. He was like eating something on the ground. He's in a tray. So the bird's like sitting there, and I have my camera and I have food. So I had my glove. So I'm like, this is definitely my bird. Like it just looked like him. Like I don't know. I know. So the bird ends up coming to my glove for food, but he's a little spooky. So he's like checking off a little bit. He eventually comes down, takes the food. I am like bawling. Like the emotions are like running wild. I let him I gave him like a half a rabbit. He takes it in a tree. He's like eating it, I don't know, like 10 feet above me. I'm like hysterical. So for like a good 5 minutes, I have like my zoom lens. I'm taking like picture after picture after picture. Tom and I have been together for like 15 years. We've talked about getting married. We never actually did it. I look over, Tom's on one knee with a ring. I cannot comprehend what's going on. So, because I'm just like, the bird's here. Why are you like, what are you doing? So my only response is I just repeatedly, I say, what the fuck? Sorry, you're going to have to bleep that out. But I keep saying it like 10 times in a row. And he's just sitting there on one knee. He says that he was sitting there for like 5 minutes. And I just keep saying like, what, over and over and over. He doesn't know what my response is going to be now. I said yes. But like, I want to know what his backup plan was, because how did that happen? That's why he wanted to put jeans on. Like now, I've reflected and we discussed it. But I would love to know his backup plan. If the stars didn't align for him, he got very lucky that this circumstance happens.
That's epic.
He might have aborted mission.
That's like the coolest like proposal. Like I bet you he probably had that ring and like he was carrying that thing around for months,
waiting for the perfect moment.
And then like Klaus comes in and like the thing, and you're crying, and he's like, "This is the time right now."
Yeah. And I said, like, why? Like, he's like, "Oh, I thought maybe he'd still be there. Maybe this would be a good time." And like I said, I'm not that type of person. Like we've been together forever. But it was really nice. Like I had to think of a way. Like I never thought that would ever happen. But it was very special. My reaction, I wish I had it on video because it was horrible. Like I was just like too emotional over the bird. And then I just was so confused because I was not expecting this at all. And I just couldn't give him an answer because I was just so confused to what he was doing, like on the floor. So that's the story of how he proposed to me.
Bravo, Tom.
Yeah, he did good.
Turns out that Tom has been feeding that bird. It's not even Klaus.
2 years.
It's just a random bird that he's been feeding, like to just set the whole thing up, knowing that you would go there as often as you could to check, and you had it all planned out.
Waiting for me
just
like 2 years.
The bird just winks at him from the tree as he's on his knee.
That's great. Wait a second, that's a Harris hawk.
Right, exactly.
What? So he came to the glove 2 years later?
2 years, isn't it? Yep, for food. And he was definitely spooky and like checking off. And like he looked healthy. Like I hope he wasn't starving. Like, there's so many emotions that like run through your head with that. But I mean, he looked really good. I mean, it just goes to show you that like they do remember stuff. I mean, I had my lure too, because I was like, I gotta see now, because it was so long after releasing the bird. But I mean, and then he went on his merry little way. He ate the food for like, I don't know, 45 minutes just right above us, like didn't spook, again, I'm like crying, like screw Tom, who just, went through this whole thing. This is my bird that I released 2 years ago. But yeah.
That's excellent. Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's a good
story. Like probably one of the coolest proposals ever.
Yeah, he did good. He definitely did good.
So when I first met you, I get 2 or 3 years ago now, it was at the Jersey meet, and then you were walking around with Applemato Falcon.
Yes. So my Applemato Falcon.
You had just gotten there.
Yes. So I started flying him. That was in February. So that was my first season in March where I started flying him. Had no idea what I was doing, but we were successful. So he was a hand-me-down bird. He had 2 other falconers, and when I got him, he was 5, and he did not get flown a whole lot. So I have only flown red tails out of trees. I have never flown a falcon, and I primarily exclusively hunt him off the fist. So I had to figure this out. I had no idea what I was doing. Neither did the bird. For like the first month, I was giving him slips. I mean, I did baggy him, but like wild slips, he would literally just watch things fly by him, and there was nothing. It was very, very frustrating, but I went out with him every day. And he got better and better and better. It was a huge learning curve for me because moving sparrows in a field is very different than rabbits. It's very different. And just like, especially hunting a bird off the glove where like sparrows are being pushed up in front of me and I'm alone and trying to figure that out with a bird that has like no confidence, like last year. It was very tricky, but he was really successful. And then this year I flew him. He did fantastic this year. Fantastic.
So, like, how did you get started with this? Well, first of all, his flight weight, what's he weigh?
So he flies around 220 grams. So he's tiny, very tiny.
Okay.
So my original plan before I got him, I was going to get a kestrel. I was going to field hawk this kestrel, like, I don't know, this dream of mine that I had.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
Because looking back on it now, I don't know if I would have been successful with that. I don't know. I mean, that was my original plan because I wanted a bird in like the spring and the summer on the off season. So then Robbie had the Applemato. He didn't really have time to fly him. So he asked if I wanted him. And I thought he was like a big kestrel. So I was like, yeah, I'll take him. I like fall madly in love with this bird because he's like a parrot. Like he's so friendly, so playful. it's so scary to fly him. It really, really is. Last year he got grabbed by a coops. Luckily was fine, but that's the biggest thing. It is very scary to fly him. But yeah, so I started flying him. Like I said, I never flew anything off the fist. So that was definitely different for me. And then flying such a small bird was very different in very different fields. And then I don't want to say learn to lure fly because I'm terrible at it, but I did train him to fly to a lure, which he's really, really good at. But it's very different than hunting a red tail for sure. Everything about it.
Well, what did you reach out to individuals? Did you read books? Did you watch videos? What did you do?
So there's not a ton of information with Aplomatos. So there's like one book. There's the Bob Dalton book. That's very basic, like more training any type of hawk. And then there's the Desert Hawking book, which has like a chapter designated to Aplomatos. But it's hard because it's very different terrain in those books than New Jersey that I'm hunting. A lot of it's on quail. Some of it was on sparrows, some of it wasn't. And there's not a lot of people that fly them either. So it was very hard to gather information. So I read some Merlin books, like I read The Passage Merlin. I talked to some Merlin flyers. I had some people that I knew that flew Merlins that were able to like help me with that. So that was helpful, but it still wasn't helpful enough where it was like, here's a solid plan and do it. Right. So it was a lot of like me figuring it out and also the bird figuring it out at the same time. So it was a very big learning curve. And then like throw in there, you're flying a 200, gram bird that everything wants to devour in the field. So that's also terrifying.
Yeah. But the good thing about an Aplomato that's fit is I'm sure they could probably outmaneuver, outfly a coops.
Yeah.
Especially some of the slips I've seen. You've been posting some really awesome footage lately. You're out in the open.
I'm out in the open, and that's yep. I try to fly. I don't fly them in the morning, just because there's more hungrier raptors. I don't fly them in the winter and the fall because there's not as like many desperate birds. This is my own thinking. And then I just try to fly wide open areas that if I can see if a peregrine comes out of the heavens, it is what it is. But if a coops comes in, I can usually see him. He did get grabbed last year, and it was because he crossed over a tree line, and it was like that. Luckily, he just broke a tail feather, and that was it. But he was able to outfly him. I got him down to the lure. I mean, it was terrifying. But to me, it's worth the risk instead of having the bird sit on a perch his whole life. So, I mean, every time I go out, I always say my favorite part is I'm back in the car and we all survived and we were all alive. Honestly, I don't feel like that hunting a red tail. But when I get back in the car with him, I'm like, now I'm in a good mood because I wasn't, for the last hour because it's scary. And there's nothing I can do. And I know that it's a risk. And if it happens, at least he's going with his boots on. And I know that, but it still doesn't make it, less scary.
Yeah. Flying micros is just potentially traumatizing.
Yeah.
And I flew a bunch of Merlins and it just got to the point where I would take my friend. When I went to college for the short time that I did go, Aaron's laughing. I would take all my friends with me, in between classes. We'd go to the golf course next door, and I'd pull the Merlin out of my car, and we'd walk across the street. I'd cut her loose, and we go chase stuff.
Right.
And I would say, listen, I'll bet you guys any amount of money, this other species of hawk called the Cooper's hawk is going to show up within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're like, how could you possibly know that? There's nothing around. And I would cut her loose. She'd start moving around and literally like clockwork.
Yep.
At that certain time of the year, it was just every single time. And my bird got grabbed and I screamed and clapped and ran and it dropped her. And then it was an hour later, she came down. It just gets to the point where it's
it's exhausting.
It's such a hassle.
It's exhausting.
I thought about bringing an air horn with me.
I carry one in my bag, but I do. I have one, but he got chased by a coops and a peregrine came on him when he was on a kill last year. But it happened so quick. I don't have time to grab my air horn. I have a little one. I have a whistle that's what I use, but everything happens so fast. And then I'm running and I'm I have a lot of permissions on farmlands. I'm these people must think what is wrong? The other day he caught a sparrow in the wide open. I was so far from him and I was in between a drainage ditch. So my options are do I jump through this drainage ditch that I know is deep in water or do I run all the way around? It's 95 degrees out. So I run all the way. I can't run anymore. I'm dying. the landowner sitting outside probably thinking like, what is wrong? My bird's like in the middle of the fields with the sparrow, like screaming and manslaying over it. And I'm like, this is it. He's dead. But it's a lot. And then hunting in like the summer and the spring, it's hot. I just put him up to molt, actually. We got a good solid 4 months of like flying every day. So, and he caught a lot. But
I mean,
this
would help him.
What?
A dog.
You know what? If I were to get a dog, I would consider getting something for with the Aplomado.
It would run over there as long as you teach it respect.
Right.
It runs over there. It's with him.
Right. This is my thought process behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just grab a monkey from work.
Perfect.
But so now, question for you.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of anti-carrying stuff with that bird?
Because I did. He does not carry. So, they are like notorious. Everyone I've talked to that does fly them, they scream. They're possessive little demons and they carry. He screams when he's at hunting weight and he is possessive, but he won't carry. So I did do a lot of anti-carrying. I'd like to say it worked. I'm just very he's always sketchy on a kill, always, but he's cached stuff, but he's never actually like taken something away where I'm like having this whole ordeal of like, what am I doing? Because he's eating something on a roof. Like one time he did carry it, but he ended up caching it and coming down. So I did a lot of weighted baggies with him, which again, I hope it helped. And then I just like tidbit him heavily when he's on the lure. I really, really locked in like his lure response. And I don't know, it seemed to do something because like I said, I have not had this issue with him the last 2 years, but he is a little sketchy on a kill just as far as but I just read him. And like I said, I know when to approach. I just do it slow. And luckily we haven't had any issues, but the slips he's taken this year, like compared to last year with his confidence have been so different. Like he will take such far slips. He will tail chase. And again, it's all off the glove and he's very fast, but he's not as fast as like a Merlin. But so this season alone, just tail chasing and the slips have been so far. It's been really cool to see him go from like, I'm not going to even like budge over a starling that's moving in front of me to like literally chasing anything really far from him. And he'll like ring up flocks of starlings, like, which is really, really cool. I mean, it's nerve wracking every time. I'm like, I just want to be done, but it's really cool to see.
That's like so epic.
Yeah, it's
that's
fun.
So cool.
It's
I mean, so if he catches so let's say you got him on the fist, you're walking through a drainage ditch, you're beating stuff. Sparrows which are basically like rats because they're so hard to, and you get them out and one makes a break for it.
Yeah.
And he chases it and catches it on the wing.
Yeah.
He just goes directly to the ground.
He'll just go to the ground. Yep. Yeah. He'll go to the ground. That's what happened the other day. And he like, I don't know, it was maybe a few feet, like he hovered down with it. And I like that he does that, but it also, again, there are these wide open fields. He's on the ground with it. He's usually like running around, mantling with it. Right. So then there's that. I got to get to him really quick. And again, I'm like running in like 95-degree weather. So like there's that. But I would take that over carrying it to a rooftop. And then I'm sitting there for hours waiting for him to come down. So he's a good bird.
Does he show any interest in fur?
He'll chase rabbits if I accidentally flush them. Like any rabbit that moves, he's chasing them. And I'm like, why are we doing this? And like, it's just so instinctual for me now. I'll be like, oh, like I get all excited that I moved a rabbit. And I'm like, wait, I have an Aplomado that weighs 220 grams right now. But he won't chase them.
People say that they have caught rabbits.
The females, I've seen the females catch them. I mean, and some people like put them on. I know that the rabbits out west are much smaller, right, than compared to like our cottontails here, I've heard. So I don't know if that. Yeah. So I mean,
in Arizona, they're teeny.
That's what I've heard. So I've seen the females because they'll fly in like the 400s. So they're a little bigger than he is. But yeah, there's no way he's catching a rabbit.
I had
he
a
likes
female
to think he will.
cock that was flying at 375 grams and she caught rabbits, but she had a lot of trouble with
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He never I don't really move like voles or mice. I really haven't seen any in the fields that I'm in, believe it or not, but it's mostly birds. He'll go after like dragonflies, grasshoppers occasionally, but it's mostly, I try to, like it's fun watching the dragonfly flights are cool. But like I said, he's definitely anything that moves, he'll chase, which is really cool. And that's another thing. Like there was like a great blue heron the other day and he's chasing that because I like flushed it out of the ditch. And I'm like, why? Like the Aplomados, like everyone that has flown them, like they just think that they're much larger than they are. Like he's chased bald eagles before in the sky. And I'm like, this is not like, why? but they're definitely courageous little birds.
Have you thought about adding in another one? Because
I would love to.
That would be neat. Because
I would love to.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Because they'll do that, right?
Yeah, you could fly. I would love to get a female, like fly him in a cast. It's something I really would consider. I don't know how chaotic it would be because it's already chaotic. I mean, he's really good. Like he doesn't go far and he comes right back to the glove. So he'll take a slip. He'll come right back to my glove if he misses. But I don't know, seeing two of them work together would be really, really cool. So it's definitely something I have thought about and want to consider for the future.
I was going to say, as if it's not stressful enough, you just had
exactly. Then there's that too, right? Like how much stress do I want to endure on a daily basis? Apparently,
maybe a Cooper's hawk could be less likely to come in.
Right. I have heard that they look out for each other, and it's less like, it's more of a deterrent for a bird that wants to grab, one. Now there's two. So.
And not only that, when the rabbit, the allegedly smaller springtime rabbits get up,
right,
they'll have a female and a tiercel that can possibly do something allegedly. But we're not condoning that type of activity. But if it happens, it happens. It'd be pretty neat, And then he will teach her. Then when we catch stuff, we go to the ground.
Except we go to the ground. That's yeah.
When I flew Merlins, that was the other thing about Merlins is. I flew about 4 or 5 Merlins and we caught stuff. I think I touched one head of quarry.
Because they would carry, would they cache them or?
Oh yeah. They would. I think I had one eat one and then come right back down to the lure. But like literally they would catch it out of the air in front of me, which was sick.
Right.
And if I had the GoPro and I knew what I knew now about filming, like, just like these sick, like slow motion, like puff of feathers in front of my face. So sick. But then they would just fly away with it. And I'd say, okay. Like at first I'd freak out, but then I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then like they were so like the lure was like their thing. So I would just swing the lure a couple times, hang out. And then you would see them look. And then they would like, pluck. And then look. And then you'd see them like a little, like a little vulture, like tiptoeing into like a tree, disappear for a little while. And then come back out and come right down to the lure.
Yeah, they're cool. It's very different than flying a big. I never thought I would fly a falcon ever. I always thought I was going to just fly red tails. But I don't know. I really like him. I like the Aplamata. They're very unique, and he's so smart. Like he really is a smart bird. And he learns so quick. But I don't know. I really like him. I really like hunting from the glove. I mean, it's fun. It's definitely fun. It's very different. And like I said, he turned out to be such a good bird. He caught I think I looked yesterday, 19 birds just this season in like 4 months. So I'm proud of him for
that's awesome.
His history in the field. No, just strictly off the fist in the field.
So if you're catching 19 in the field from the fist, that's probably what, Aaron?
300 out of a car.
400 out of the window of your car.
Triple digits right there.
Listen, if you car hawked them though, your Instagram would grow exponentially. We know this.
Brittany, you deserve
field talking.
You deserve a ton of credit for doing this. It's really cool. It's really interesting. It's something that people try and don't follow up on and actually do. And you're doing it. And not only doing it, you're doing it with a hand-me-down. That bird was bouncing around like a beach ball at a Nickelback concert.
Yeah. And I didn't know exactly like what I was getting myself into. Like I didn't think I'd have a heart. Like, I don't know. I didn't know them. And again, there's not a lot of people that fly them. And like the people that do fly them, like I know some successful people, but a lot of people, like they're used in abatement. They're not, super, game birds, right? So like it was really hard to get information on them. But I mean, like I put a ton of work in with him and it was so frustrating sometimes. Like there were times that I'm like, what am I doing? It's me. Like it was defeating. It was very defeating. But once he learned it and like we were working as a team, I mean, just seeing the bird's confidence like change. And then even compared, like last year, I think he caught like 13 or 14 birds, which isn't a whole lot more like, this season, but just
that's
his confidence.
14 more than most people with Aplamatos.
His confidence and the way he would take slips this year, it's night and day compared to last year. And like the birds he was going after, like it was a huge, huge confidence for him. Like, so it was really cool to see him change like that. And then like, I kind of know what I'm doing now, kind of. So like I can work a field better, but I mean, he's definitely a lot of fun to fly.
Do you have any advice for anyone out there who wants to try that?
Get earplugs. No, they are like I said, I know a lot of them are noisy. I don't know. I think it's consistency with them. I think they need consistency. I think they need, consistent slips. And I think the fields are important for them because I'll take them to some fields that, they look good, but it's not the perfect setup for him. Drainage ditches are hard because I'm pushing everything in front of me. But at the same point, it's easier because they're all collecting in one area, right? So I can position myself and the bird. I've tried to hunt them off a T-perch, but I like having them on the glove for like more control. But I think for them, it's just consistency and a lot of patience.
Yeah, sounds about right. But I would say this, if I have to implement the T-perch, I'd rather just not catch anything. Than catch me walking around that stupid thing.
I took it out twice and I made Tom carry it once. He looked like a little king on it. It's just annoying. Like I don't want it it's just one extra thing. It gives him a height advantage, which is nice. So I have some like soy field and wheat field that it's helpful because he can see higher than when he's on my fist. But it doesn't make a whole lot of difference from my experience with the speed of coming off my fist versus a 4-foot T-perch for an Aplomato. I mean, like I said, he's going to tail chase. He's not the fastest bird in the world, but he knows how to catch things, whether it's on my glove or a T-perch. And when it's windy, he has a hard time on the T-perch because he's like moving around and getting blown off. So at least if he's on my glove, he'll like turn around and I can kind of like block the wind from him. And they're a lot of fun to lure fly. I've never lure flown a bird. I would never do it primarily. But, at the end, like it's great exercise for him. I'm terrible at it. But I mean, I can get him to do over like 60 stoops now, which is really cool because he didn't know how to do any of it. So.
Yeah, the lure flying like micros is for me is one of the most, because you're experiencing like the long wing thing, but it's like on a tiny schedule. But with that long tail, I would imagine that would be like your shoulders are probably jacked now from doing that. Yeah, just because they could probably turn on a dime. The Merlins would make larger passes, but he gets like all the way up and then like shoots down. I've been trying to work on like him going out more because it's very hard when he's directly above me, and he's been doing better. Like I've just been like doing different things to force him to go out in front of me. Yeah. But he's great with it. And it's great exercise. He's really good with it. And I just fly him to like an ungarnished lure and then I trade him off. I use 2 different lures with him, which I think has helped him with his possessiveness. So that's one other thing is with Aplomatos, like I said, they're really possessive and everyone I've talked to, it's the same thing. But I just use 2 lures and I treat his flying lure as like his kill. And then I trade him off to a disc that only has tidbits. So he can never hold something in his talons because then it's all over. And that has really, really helped him a lot with just like breaking the mindset of going from like one thing to another thing because there's nothing to possess then.
I wonder if that's a characteristic of social birds because Harris hawks are pretty possessive too. They like turn into dinner plates when it's
Aplomatos too. Yeah, and they live with their family units till they're like I think 4 or 5 in the wild. So I mean, I think it's definitely definitely part of it. But they're cool birds. I mean, I don't know if I want to say I wish more people flown them because I feel like people would not do them justice. But if someone wanted to and they had the time, they're really, really cool birds to fly and try.
I feel like that's one of the most common birds for people to get that talk a big game that they're going to do something and they never do.
And it sits there. They're cute. Yeah. He's so cool. I mean,
they're so easy just to keep in the house, right?
Right. And I can see the allure to doing that. And as easy as it would be like, hey, I'm so scared that my bird's going to get eaten. I keep him safe on my perch. Like, I'm not willing to do that. Like emotionally, yes, it would be easier, but I feel like I'm just robbing the bird of like any opportunity like for his well-being. So
yeah, and I appreciate that you say that because I think a lot of us are tempted to do that, and it's kind of like this thing where you get a bird that's special or you spend decent money on a bird and then you're like, I could fly it and risk something happening, or I could just like take it out at the field meet for pictures.
Right.
And it's just like, it's so much cooler, and not that it's all about a flex, but for you, it's like, like you're doing it obviously. And it's like so
and you're
much
not
cooler.
Out west.
You're not out west. Yeah. It's even cooler. You know what I mean? That you're doing it. You're taking the risk and you made it through and now he's alive.
Two seasons. I said, I was so happy to put this bird up for the molt because I was like 2 seasons. We made it through.
I'd be like, oh, you caught 5 things. That's the season. Let's put you up now.
No. Yeah, I got this owl, and my goal is just to catch like one sparrow, like wild sparrow in like a barn.
That's what you're going to do is barns. I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
cool.
not. Yeah, no, I'm not doing anything like no car hawking, like none of this crap. I'm just going to go to like barns and just like let him kill whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And then we're going to leave. And that's it.
I did that with the Apple Motto a little bit. Like I have barns that have starlings, and it's great. Like he'll go for them. They'll be in the rafters. The people that own the barns, they're never going to say no to that. So it definitely, I think, is it sounds fun.
Yeah, he's a gamey little sucker, and my wife is not, she's not a fan. I had a sparrow get loose in my house. And
we had that last year too. Yeah, it was a blast.
It literally, she goes to put the baby in the crib, and there's a sparrow in between his pillow and like the side, like literally, and she goes to like lay, and when she laid him in there, the sparrow flew right over her head. And I was at another falconer, so I was actually having dinner with Dave Canellis, who came into town, and I was just like a nonstop stream of text messages from my wife, like so pissed. And she's trying to find it, and it went like in the closet. And I got home that night, and like all the clothes in the closet were like on the floor, and she still couldn't find it. Like a sparrow is like literally a rat with wings.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to get loose in our basement last year when I had them for the Apple Motto. I had to set a mist net up in my basement. I got it from Pat because I had traps in my basement. These things were in my basement for like 2 weeks, and I fed them because I felt bad. But I had to set up a mist net to like get them because they'd see us and then they'd go into hiding. So we had to set the stupid net up and then like wait for them, and I got them, and then they went on their merry little way. But for a while, they were just living in my basement, had access to food and water because I didn't want them dying down there. But I couldn't believe how well they hid.
Oh, they literally, like I literally watched it in front of my face because this sparrow, I'm in the room that I'm in right now is my laundry room where I do the podcast, and I have a stackable washer and dryer. And this sparrow literally like landed on the ground. I'm like watching the bird do the owl thing, 4 hours of head bobbing. And it literally sees the crack in between the wall and the stackable washer and dryer in the closet, and like sees the shadow of like the high, and it literally, I see it like putting 2 and 2 together and just goes, and I was like, oh no. So then I'm like with a broomstick trying to get it out. It won't come out. And then I came home from work that day that I went to dinner. So in the morning, I heard it back there. I walked in the laundry room. It scurried back in. Then I'm like, God, son of a bitch. So I go to work. I get out of work. I come in. I hear it back. I hear this, because it must have heard me coming and scurried back in. And then I leave, and my wife was out with the kids. And then it must have like just went out of the door when nobody was home. And it was just like, and then it hit, when my wife came home, it must have hid it's a nightmare. So we ended up,
this is the stuff people don't realize that we have to deal with behind the scenes.
Yeah. Just like, sparrows are just, they're a nightmare to chase, and they're just so clever. And, like the Merlin guys out west, like, Chris Starr was telling me, like, they'll literally just like dive into like 2 inches of grass and like bury themselves in there and not move.
They're gone.
So
they disappear.
Smart. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, unless it's like a golf course.
Yeah.
You cannot get them out of there like without like physically grabbing them and then like throwing them. It's insane.
It's very different. And like I said, it was very defeating at first until I understood what to do, kind of. It was very, very frustrating. But like I said, the bird's on fire. I'm really, really happy. I'm happy that the season's over because I need a mental break because I've been just flying birds like for nonstop for the last few years. And then I'm going to trap a red tail. I have this rehab peregrine right now in my house. And then I'm going to get a red tail in the fall.
Do you have your heart set on anything particular?
No, I'm not picky. I liked the males that I've flown. Again, I haven't flown a ton of birds. But I don't really care. I mean, I would like to try another female, but I'm open to whatever.
Okay. So it's just kind of like, do you really do squirrels, or are you just after rabbits?
Mostly rabbits. If I see, a lot of the places I go have squirrels. My red tail, I did put her more on squirrels. So I like focus them a little more because she was just fantastic. And all my males have caught squirrels and they were fine with them. But mostly the fields I go to are rabbit fields. So it really doesn't matter for me.
we'll keep whatever we catch as long as it can handle a squirrel.
Right.
That's
And I've
just
flown my first male was small. He was fine with squirrels. The last male, he was fine with squirrels. So, I mean, I've had bites, but I mean, mostly I'm targeting rabbits. If we get some squirrels and they're fine with them, fantastic.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it was fascinating to hear about the Aplomatos on the East Coast. That's cool stuff. I hope you get a female.
Me too.
Yeah, I think you should put off getting that red tail and just
get another female.
Get a female and just fly them in a cast and just slay stuff with them.
Dominate the sparrow population over here. But no, it's definitely my goal.
For those of you listening, we're talking about European invasive sparrows here.
Yes, and starlings.
Which is ridiculous because, how many sparrows is one falconer going to catch per day, per year? It's not going to have any impact whatsoever on any. It's just the whole thing's just a joke, in my opinion. But
I always go back to like bobwhite quail. I guarantee there's more of everything in New Jersey than there are bobwhite quail, and bobwhite are legal.
Yeah, a bobwhite quail is legal, but there's hardly any of them left. But if you catch a robin, you're going to jail. And if you're going to jail, if you take it home. But it's just the whole thing. You know what I mean? Right. It's just it needs to be something needs to be changed. I don't know if it's possible. I'm not going to like die on the hill, but I just think it's, if I got a Sharpie and it catches some sort of little tiny, songbird, like I can't take it home. I can't do anything with it. I just got to let him eat it. And I mean, that's not the end of the world, but it's just,
yeah. And that's what happens with field talking. Like I got meadowlarks and I had to leave them. Right. So like, I cannot control what the bird catches. I try, but I mean, it is what it is. So.
Yeah. And on the same note of it is what it is, you're not impacting any significant population of meadowlarks or anything else that we accidentally catch. It's just there's wild birds catching them all day long, all year long, So, but yeah, no, that's awesome, and we really appreciate your time. And you're doing you do so much work for the club and everything else, and we just really wanted to talk to you and hang out and talk, and we really appreciate you coming on and giving us your insights and all the monkey talk. That stuff is so
monkey
cool.
Business.
Monkey business.
All the monkey business. Yeah, it's super neat. And maybe we'll talk to you at the end of like mid next season, this coming season. Maybe we'll follow up with you, see how things are going. And so everybody that's gotta re-up your dues for Jersey, like myself, you gotta get that done. And then I did have one more question, not to go back in time, but I don't know if you're aware of this, just because Jersey is one of the biggest meets on the East Coast, or like even on the eastern side of the United States. Like it's one of the biggest meets. What do you think, like why that is?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's because we have like other falconers, like the PA people are close, New York, we get some Delaware and Maryland people, but I don't know. I don't know if our club compared to like, what are your club numbers, Aaron? Like how many people are in your state club?
I think there's like 40, 50 people, something like that.
We have over 100. So I don't know if it's just the amount of people in the club and then they, bring people.
You have more falconers for sure. And I think it's a central location and there's a lot of game at your meet.
At the meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a ton near me.
Not a ton near where I used to hawk either. It was like ridiculous. It's just like, like I go to the New York meet and there's like, 50 people there. It's a nice, decent sized group of people. Bob spoke at that meet. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then you go to the PA meet. PA's a pretty nice meet too. But then you go to Jersey and it's like off the chain. There's like, how much was it last year? It was like 150 something.
100 over that. I had to kick everyone out of the banquet hall to get more seats. So yeah, there was a lot of people, over 150.
Yeah, over.
But I've never hunted in Swedesboro with none of my birds at the meet. I've always like driven further because like, I don't know, I've given those not hunted at the fields that everyone else was at, but I think I'm going to this year. It sounds like there's a lot of rabbits.
It's infested there. And the mound is gone. They're taking it out. Yeah. I got a video message from a guy who lives down there. It's very depressing.
That's very sad.
But yeah, there's tons of rabbits. I just wanted to know like your thoughts. I mean, our meet is great. It's very professional. We have good speakers. That's why I think like this year, like, you know, like the other speakers we've had over the years, they're great, you know, the photographers and stuff, and it's nice. But we need to get like some heavy hitters. Like we got a good meet, we got a good club, we got a lot of people coming. We got to give them a good guest.
All right. I'll report back to the officers.
You've twisted my arm enough.
All right, John Mounier is going to be there. He's going to be this guest. Oh man, freaking John Mounier. But John Mounier will be there, and it's always fun to have our sister podcast, John Mounier and Company, in tow, coming with us, following us. It's good. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We appreciate the clout that, this shit talk on their on his podcast. It's good. It's friendly banter, and we love it. We're here for it.
It was like when my daughter tries to make fun of me, though, and she's like, calls me Mr. Poopy Butt or something.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. Just go to your room. That's what we tell John. John, go to your room.
All right. Britney, once again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
Definitely. Can't wait to see you at the meet.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.